Hey, everybody. This is Ron Couming coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts on the Success Secrets Revealed. Today we have with us Reid, who received his honorary Ph.D. in literature, is considered one of the top 5 keynote speakers by Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine. He has been published in more than 100 books, which have been translated in 45 plus different languages. Among his best-selling books are Wealth Made Easy, Stickability, and 3 Feet from Gold. He can be found having a great time, brewing up inspiration, occasionally breaking into song and dance, and being of contribution to those around him. Hi, everyone. My name is Ron Couming, and this show is called Success Secrets Revealed, and it's sponsored by RCS Online Solutions, which helps business owners and entrepreneurs much like you attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success by using various internet marketing techniques and methods. Greg, are you there, brother?
Of course I am. Boy, with an introduction like that, I better break out in song and dance.
I hear you, but I think I had to give it twice because it just didn't work for LinkedIn for whatever reason. I'll just repost it over there. It's, I got a little red mark there. So, as we talk about when we go to one of the best events I've ever been to on more than one occasion is called Secret Knock. And we have a rule. You must be first invited, and B, you must be a cool cat, because in life, things don't go according to plan perfectly. So if the mics go down, the speakers go down, the lights go down, you just got to roll with the flow. I learned that from you, brother.
Thank you. And it's so interesting because people get so caught up in ego, right? Which means you're edging God out. And for me, if water runs out on the table, go get some water for everybody. If there's trash on the floor, throw it away. You're not at your mom's house. And the whole idea is surround yourself with positive, like-minded people that think the same.
I love it, man. And I love it, but it's so simple, but it's just so real. If the water runs out, don't look for somebody to bring it to you. Just get up and go out to the door. Exactly. I got my coffee here and my water next to it, just in case. But but that is so cool, and it's so real, and but it's kind of rare because people do have a sense of entitlement, right? So, I mean, I don't really want to go off, but I just want to say that I'm super excited to have you here today. And your event, Secret Knock, is one of the best I've ever been to. I've been there more than once. And aren't you consistently ranked in the top 1, 2, 3, or 5 events? Consistently must-10 events for the year?
Yeah, it's really weird how it all started. So, hi, everyone. My name's Greg. So I write books and make movies and things of this nature. And I get a chance to interview amazing human beings along my quest. And folks kept coming up saying, how do I meet your friends? So I started an event almost as a joke in my living room. And they go, how do I know, to get in? Is there is there a ticket? And I go, just do a secret knock, bump, 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 just as a funny thing. Well, it took off and became its own little phenomenon. And without any advertisement or Facebook ads or whatever, we've consistently hit the top event. And here's what's really cool is it costs thousands of dollars to go, and we won't tell you where it is or who will be there. How weird is that, right? You kind of got to trust. We tell you the city, the state, the date, so you can make your flights. But then once you're there, right beforehand, we leak where the location's at so everyone can find us.
Yeah, but I like that because it gives it that sense of exclusivity. And like I said, I've been there. And when you say you don't let you know where it is, that's good. Because if you do let people know where it is at the Hilton on Monday or Saturday at 1 o'clock, right? Guess what? People who didn't pay and interlopers and Bob's friend who saw it on his Facebook post is going to show up, or Billy or whatever. So I absolutely love that. Don't you have an anniversary coming up about one of your books with Sharon?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So, gosh, I don't know still if it's, good timing or bad luck. I'm trying to figure this one out, but it's really interesting. So back in the day, Napoleon Hill, when he came out with Think and Grow Rich, it really caught storm right after the Great Depression, because it's what people needed to, change their mindset, so to speak. And 100 years later, Sharon Lechter and I wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, through the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And it came out in 2008. What other thing happened then, right? It was our other great situation. And then another publisher picked it up and is re-releasing it this month, again, for the anniversary, and things are happening astray again. So either we've been divinely intervened to bring this to the masses, or it's just coincidence. But the bottom line is this: first there's a dream, then there's a challenge, and then comes victory. How do you truly turn obstacles into opportunities? And 3 Feet from Gold is a blueprint to do just that.
I love it. And I told you, I think I saw you at a Secret Knock event. And they asked us to give one of our favorite books. And, most people, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and the Entrepreneur book. I'm pulling a blank right now because I'm trying to think of it. But it's one of the best books I've read, too. But without a doubt, I mentioned your book, Think and Grow 3 Feet from Gold, rather, right? And I clearly said, not because you were there, but and also Stickability, because how often in life do we have a challenge or two that just throws us off course, and we stop before we actually become successful? And had we just stuck through it just that little bit more, we would be on the other side of whatever adversity kind of slowed us down, right? So you have multiple books, don't you?
Well, yeah, I've been very blessed. I mean, I've been published in over 100 books, 45 languages around the world. I believe I'm one of the rare exceptions that has 4 or 5 books always available at Barnes & Noble bookstores or at the airports around the country. And it's only because I learned the power of working your strengths and hiring your weaknesses. Now, listen, I'm going to be very clear with everyone, right? I am the least qualified guy to do what I do for a living, and I'll be the first person to admit it. I can't read. I can't write. I'm dyslexic. I can't spell. Play me word with friends. You'll win every time. But I understood the power that I'm full of crap. I'm a good talker. So I found amazing ghostwriters and copy editors that could sit me down and take my message and craft them in a way people would want to read. And by doing that, became a world-renowned author. And understand this, it's kind of like there's no Santa Claus, but a person whose name goes on a book is an author, but the person who wrote the book is usually someone different. Just like Katy Perry didn't write Firework, but she's the author of that song. So what it is, it's my principle, so I can speak about it around the world, but I had other people craft it in the way that people would actually enjoy.
I love it. And yesterday, I love the fact that you spoke about that you're not an expert in this, that, or the other thing, but you bring in other people who are. Dave Corbin was a guest yesterday, and he spoke about having that sort of like a spoke. In the center is who you are, and then you have all these spokes going off. But what you need to do is you need to bring in people who can supplement whatever you are, I don't want to say lacking in, but whatever you don't excel in. And the collective will just propel you to where you want to go.
Well, to the highest degree. I mean, trust me, that's how it is. Right now, I reached out to some people on my team and said, I got this idea for a website. I wanted to do this. I have no idea how to do any of that stuff, but they're right now working on putting that all together. When Frank blessed me with the opportunity to tell his story in a major feature film, I've never made a movie. So I reached out and started running ads on Craigslist and going to Hollywood and meeting people. Look, the bottom line is that 80% of every single thing we need is already within our sphere of influence. We're waiting for the perfect time to reach out. I call it a bad case of the one size. That means I'll take action once I get the big break, once I get the money or the ducks in a row. Timing's never just right. So the best time to take action is now, and then look for the opportunities along the way.
I love that. And you just mentioned Frank, and you and I both know that's Frank Schenkowitz, and it's the Wishman movie. And you also both, don't you have a star on in Las Vegas, both of you? But can you tell us a little bit about it? Oh, there it is right behind you too. We don't even have to travel.
Yeah.
I guess we just need to look behind you a little bit. Yeah, in front of the Paris hotel, I believe, right, in that area. But can you tell us a little bit about how that came about? And Frank, by the way, Frank
Oh,
Sheck
absolutely.
is going to be a guest tomorrow on our show.
Well, you're getting the cool cats, that's for sure. And thank you very much for asking. So I was doing a book called Stickability, Think and Grow Rich series through the 0.0 Foundation. And I was interviewing Frank, and he was at Secret Knock. And on stage, I asked him a question. What was your wish? And he looked at me like I had two heads. And I go, well, what did you ask for? And he goes, well, no one asked me. I'm just the founder. And I says, well, I would like your wish, so that I did something cool. So he signed over his life rights and said, well, I'll make it into a major movie, but just know I've never made a major film, but he trusted me. And it took 6 years of trials and tribulations, and trust me, but it finally came out, and it was a great success, so much so that we made official the wide on Netflix as we speak.
I love it. And I actually watched about a third of it on Netflix by myself. And then I decided I needed to pause it because I wanted my girlfriend to watch it with me. And because, you know, she has, she'll be here. What's today? I don't even know. Today's Wednesday. She'll be here tomorrow night. So I'm going to watch that. But that's, you know, the first part that I watched was absolutely compelling. And you wouldn't really know it when you meet Frank and you realize that he served us in the Air Force, and he was 35 years in the Arizona Police Department. He rose to the ranks of homicide detective, but he started out as a patrol officer, and then he had the car accident and all that. I don't want to give it away because you really need to see the movie, but you know, it just gives you. We're just everyday people, and you have it within you to really affect change and the power to contribute to other people's lives and success. Now, we may not create what Frank created because that's just astronomical, but each and every one of us has the power to help at least one or two people. Am I correct?
Yeah, and that's a moral of the film. It's that everyone can be a hero. You don't need to be a celebrity or movie star or billionaire. You can give a pair of socks to a homeless guy. You can stop a bully from fighting. Everyone can do something to leave an indelible mark on the planet, a little bit brighter than when he came in.
I love it. Now, I don't know because you're kind of like fading in and out. Are you plugged in or are you using Wi-Fi? And if it's possible, can you plug in to your internet access just so we can hear you better? Because it looks like you're frozen right now. I don't even know if you can hear me. Yikes. That's not a good sign because your screen just went black. There you go. He's back. What a smile.
It was my Houdini move. You just disappear for a second. So that's the way it is. And in today's times, look, everyone's on the internet, everyone's streaming. And look, again, back to the be cool mentality. We're eating up so much, bandwidth right now. Things are going in and out with Zooms and all these different modalities. So the funny thing about modern, technology. So I've got a giant Mac computer. It's the most high-end one you could possibly get. Yet I couldn't figure out how to do this conversation on there. So I pulled out my son's for $150, and that's what we're doing this thing on.
I love it. And that's so true. You know what I mean? We set out with the greatest intentions in life, and we get all these different things going, and then life just gets in the way. And we just have to adapt and do the best we can, right? And you're frozen a little bit.
Amen to that.
There you go. Tell us, Greg, a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, cool. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, I want these videos and the recordings. I'm going to push them through on my radio show, Internet Marketing Business Solutions with Ronald Couming, and they're going to go out that way. But they're going to be on social media. They're going to be on YouTube. So I want to kind of create where we're giving out information that people can use no matter what the situation is. But we would be negligent not to mention that right now we're going through this COVID thing. So what can people do to, I don't want to say survive, but because all you got to do is just wake up, right, and go to sleep. But what can people do to thrive in this type of environment where on a dime, everything just switched. You know what I mean? And then going forward, maybe like 3 tips that business owners and entrepreneurs can use to increase their probabilities of success.
You know, when Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, the chapter was called The Six Ghosts of Fear. And people are worried about what, loss of love or old age or death. And I think people right now are the fear of criticism, what other people are thinking. And that's what holds most people back. And the real newsflash, no one's thinking about you. They're dealing with their own situation. And right now, the perfect time that no one's looking windows. If you got an idea for a book, start writing. If you got an idea for a movie, a play, a clothing line, this is the greatest opportunity we've ever had to get out of ourselves and to start actually focusing on something that we've been holding inside without the fear of someone looking over our shoulder or judging us. So to me, I was going, look, if I had an idea for a clothing line and, a design, someone who printed t-shirts and I know another person who made websites, it's that time to collaboration where there's no real money out of pocket, where you can start a business and do it together as a collaboration and come out with something special, at least give it a shot, get it out from your head and your heart out into the marketplace. So number one, I'd say look for opportunities and collaborations, which the world has got unlimited access to right now. And then this is the big one for me is I realized I started looking at the worst case scenarios and go, okay, what's the worst case scenario? Well, we get this horrible thing and it goes to a demise. I says, okay, well, is my life insurance in order? Yep. Is my kid set with plenty of money for? Do I have a marker on this walk of fame so you don't have to go to a graveyard? He can actually see me when he goes to Vegas with the buddies. Yep. Did you write books? Did you leave a legacy? Did you make a movie? I go, I had a good death style. As weird as it is, I had a good death style. And then I said, well, what? The other side of this. And so for my son to be when I come out of that situation and I'm looking at all that's, and I got to tell you right now, I'm probably more excited of what's coming after this than I've ever been in my life. And I know the most successful people are looking the same way. And rather than give you financial advice, because that's not my, I'm looking at things from a common sense perspective. Example, and there's only one, and this is just my example. So for example, Starbucks stock, it went in half because everything's shutting down. So I'm not a rocket scientist, but I realized that the moment that everyone gets out of quarantine, where are they going to go first? I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to go to Starbucks. So I went and bought Starbucks, just realizing that chances are that will go back up. And I don't see too many opportunities in our lifetime where we've seen an opportunity where our money can double and triple a year from now or even shorter period of time. So I'm keeping my eyes, my reticular activated for all of those different opportunities.
I love it. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. You just have to see those opportunities and, use a little bit of common sense. But people who are business owners and entrepreneurs, if you could give them 3 tips, 1, 2, 3 on what they could do. And one might be as simple as going to events. I mean, for me as an entrepreneur, I know, and I'm not saying people who are W-2s, meaning they work for a living, people who are entrepreneurs and business owners and 1099s. I mean, everybody is doing what they're doing to survive, right? And everybody is to be congratulated. But at the end of the day, different people have different mindsets. It's not that one mindset is better than the other. It's just that mindsets are different, okay? Me as a business owner and entrepreneur, my mindset's a little bit different than somebody who's a W-2, right? So what can somebody who is a business owner and entrepreneur do, not just now, but as a whole, as a business owner and an entrepreneur, to increase and achieve even greater success going forward? For me, I can tell you one of the biggest things I do, because it's kind of isolating, even without this coronavirus thing where we're quarantined, but we're like the 3%ers. We're like 3% of the population, and we think differently and we talk differently. So it's kind of isolating because we're in a room full of people. We love them, we respect them, they're our family members, but they just think differently. So when I go to events like Secret Knock and other events, in addition to listening and learning, it is so nice. It's so refreshing to just be around other people who think and feel like I do. So to me, that's one of the best things I can do. I go to these events, I listen, I learn, I incorporate, I serve, and I earn. But can you give us a couple of advices, because you're like, extremely successful. So what can entrepreneurs and business owners do to achieve even greater success, knowing that they're the 3% and there is that 97% that are different from us?
Well, I'll tell you what my circle's doing. Again, rather than give counsel and feedback, I'll share what we're doing. Is I'm calling all my competition. I know it sounds strange, but I'm calling all my quote unquote competition. And I'm saying, how are you handling things? What are you going through? What are you doing to adapt? How can I collaborate with you? So for example, last week, we did Secret Knock Stream because we couldn't do our live event. And I'm starting to bring people that normally they do events and I do events, and we're coming together and saying, how can we support each other through this trials and tribulations? And by doing that, we're all seeing new modalities and systems that we can help one another. My phone has been ringing off the hook from all my competition saying, how in the world did you pull off that Secret Knock Stream so good? It looked like a live TV show. And so now I can share my assets and resources and the people that help me with them. Now, normally you go, I'm not going to help my competition, but I truly want to help them because they're also my peers. They're also my family. We're brothers in arms. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to every single person that's in my sphere of influence and saying, how can I now add value? How can I be of cooperation with you and put the compete button down? And how can we actually collaborate?
I love it. And that brings up another great point. It's really about, it's not about competition. It's about collaborating. So, and I know for me, earlier you spoke about website design. My company does, whether it's website design, any type of online solutions, SEO, all that type of stuff. But I have found as an individual, if I look at another website company or another SEO company as competition, I actually limit myself. When I look at another company who does similar services, or they might do websites, but they don't do SEO. They might do SEO, but they don't do websites. So when we talk, we can actually help each other and fill in the gaps. Business owners and CPAs, they are connected to my ideal customer and clients. And my customers and clients need all their services. So I love that mentality of collaborating opposed to competition. And I think that's something that business owners and entrepreneurs, in the early stages, it's more, we look at like, well, they're doing the same that I'm doing, and so their competition, I can't go to the same events if they're at a meetup or whatever the case may be. And they look at it, I think, wrong. And I just love the way that you just put that about collaborating opposed to seeing everybody as competition.
Yeah. So imagine when we come out of this, and for example, you're in a little strip mall and the pizza parlor is right next to a wine store. Well, what if now the wine store puts out little flyers at the counter saying, hey, by the way, get 50% off your first pizza next door. We love these guys. It goes great with a bottle of red. And then what if the pizza guys, when they deliver pizzas, had a little flyer on there and said, hey, by the way, the local wine store over here we've gone great with a bottle of red. And what if you start collaborating and working together rather than a competition, making sure that everyone's not getting your eyeballs? What if we started doing this? How much more business could increase? So I have been going on many of these streams with people that, again, normally do other events, and now we're sharing database, we're sharing eyeballs, we're getting new fans, and my fans are becoming theirs becoming mine, and it's expanding our horizons, it's expanding our business. And to me, I think that's going to be the new way of doing business moving forward. I think we're going to be less holding on to trade secrets, and we're going to be collaborating with one another. Anyway, so that's my biggest tip that I can say. What can you start looking at your competition as a collaborators, and how can you increase your business tenfold?
I love it. And that goes back to like attraction marketing. And I learned a ton from John Asseroff when it comes to attraction marketing. And he spoke about giving away 95% of like his secret sauce. And people were asking him, like, well, if you give away 95% of what you do, how are you going to make money and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, if I give away 95% and people find value in that, imagine what they're going to get in the 5% that they're going to pay for.
Yeah.
So,
and there's another side of that. And this is the truth side of this one. This is like behind the magician's, thing. All talks about, rocket science. But what happens is I could sit there and tell you exactly how to write, produce, publish, get a book out there, market it, and the whole bit. But it doesn't mean you could do it. So what happens is by giving it the exact blueprint of how it's done, 99% of people go, well, that's the way it's done. I know I don't want to do that or can't do it. Can I hire you to do it? And you actually gain business from doing it. It'd be the same thing as Michael Jordan when he was playing basketball saying, what you do is you go down the court, you jump in the air, you flip around, you stick your tongue out and you slam it down the hole. It's pretty easy. He can tell you every single secret he does. Doesn't mean that you're going to do it for yourself. Exactly. So the more that you can share what's common sense to you or what's, a trade secret to you, trust me, other people will come and want to hire you to do that for them.
Greg, I love it. And I have people on the live stream and they want to know, what is this thing called Tub of Love?
It's interesting how popular that's getting. It's nice when organic things grow and blow up. So the Tub of Love is that secret knock. What we do is the speakers that come, they offer their coaching, live sessions, fly to their estate, their products, their books, their program, put it in a giant tub, a plastic tub, and it fills up. And usually it acquires about $200,000 worth of stuff. And at the end of the event, we choose one person who's engaged the most, and they win that bucket of love. And what's really cool about that is 100% of the time when someone wins it, they end up sharing it with everyone else. What they do is they go up on stage and they'll dump it out, and then people go up like a feeding frenzy and they'll say, I really needed that one-on-one with Bob Proctor. And then another person says, hey, I really wanted that ski-doo. And another person says, I want that, trip to Puerto Vallarta. And what's cool is that, everyone again works together. But the Tub of Love is a bucket of love that someone's going to win at every event we do. And by the way, the next event is September 2nd and 3rd in San Diego. We're going live, and I'm going to make it up to everybody that couldn't come out last time. So it's going to be a big one, and it's going to be pretty grand.
I love it. And like I said, I've been to a couple and I highly recommend it. But aren't you doing online stuff too? When is your next online event?
Yeah, we're done. So what we did is Secret Knox was supposed to go a couple weeks ago. And since we couldn't do it live, we streamed a mini version of it. And then last week I did another little 3 hours because I couldn't fit them all in. And Brian Tracy and John Asseroff and Sharon Lett, all these people came out to participate. But the next time we're going to do an event will be in September 2nd and 3rd for the actual Secret Knock. But is going to be going strong in November, where Shannon Parsons and Bonnie Fallon are going to put that one on. Last year was standing room only, sold out. It is spectacular because there's no men bashing allowed, and I wasn't even allowed to come. So what they did is they brought in the most powerful, successful women of today's generation, and they started talking about, ladies, let's put all of our stuff down and how can we collaborate? How can you pull out your phone and say, look, I'm looking for this resource and connect with that person? And so Secret Knock Women, I think it's going to be a new phenomenon.
I love it. And she's been doing that for a little while now, hasn't she?
Yeah, Shannon's been with me a couple of years. I call her my secret weapon. I run 6 different corporations and everything flows through her. I've got such ADD challenge that I can sit down and go, and we do something called hats. So imagine I put a hat on. I go, all right, let's talk Secret Knock. I go, bam, 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 bam for 6 minutes. And I go, okay, Wishman, bah, 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 bah. Okay, books, bah, 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 bah. And then she takes it as a directive and shares it with everybody else.
I love it. And it's so important to have people like that to help you, to realize what your strengths and weaknesses are. You spoke about that. And like I mentioned, Dave Corbin spoke about that with his spoke. But Greg, there are people who will never have direct access to you. If you were a business owner and an entrepreneur, and they did not have direct access to you, what is the 1 or 2 questions that they should ask that will help them? And they might not even know it's the correct question to ask.
Yeah, this is great. That's a good question, by the way. Ron, I'm going to give you a couple little gold stars for that one. I want to tell you the easiest thing. Stop making me work for you. And I'll give you an example. So many people come out, like I'll go on stage and there's thousands of people. And then you get, mobbed with these amazing human beings. And they say, I want to work with you. How can I be of contribution? How can I be of service? Amazing questions. The challenge is I don't know you. I don't know what you do. I don't know service. So now you're going to make me work for you where I got to interview you for 30 minutes. I don't want people to pick my brain. I don't want to go out to lunch. I don't want to go have dinner with somebody I don't know. So specificity is the key. So here's what I would do. I would come up to somebody that you want to get attached to. And let's say they come off stage and you say, hey, listen, by the way, I follow you on Instagram. I see you got 500,000 followers. I love your memes. I'm a meme maker. Let me make 2 free ones for you. Send them to your text. You like them. Maybe you'll consider my services. Done. I didn't have to work. Done. Here's the other thing. When I wanted to get access for my interviews, for let's use Stickability as an example, I used Specificity. I would call the guy who started NASCAR or Remax Real Estate or all these incredible corporations, and I would be very specific. I'd say, hey, I need 12.5 minutes of your time. I will come to you. By the time I open the door, I will be out the door in 12.5 minutes or less, or you can kick me out. I'm going to ask you one question about the power of stickability, the power to persevere. Here's the question. How did you stay the course even when you didn't want to? The end. Now, the chance of them giving me their 12.5 minutes is 99.9999% because it's specific, it's to the point, they know what it is, and there's a time gap to it. So the whole thing is the more specific we can be, the easier you'll have access to anyone that you want.
I love it. And that's huge. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Secret Knock. The type of people who go to Secret Knock and the type of people that you associate yourself with is huge, but it's so vast. I mean, I met Ron Klein at your events. Now, Ron Klein created the credit card strip, and he created multiple different things, but that was one of the things that he created. But then I also met a gentleman named Steve who trained the SEALs and all the people in that area. Obviously, I had previously known Frank Shankowitz and who's the Wishman, Alex Stern, and a whole bunch of other people. But the vast type of personalities and the vast type of things that people have created are all at your event. And can you tell us a little bit about the value of having such a diverse input of intellect?
Yeah, we're kind of the land of the misfit toys, by the way. That's what I like. There is no rhyme or reason. Like you see a celebrity on TV, and then you see the guy who started string theory. You see, Tonino Lamborghini, all the way over here to someone who's doing holograms on stage. And we keep it vast because it keeps your brain engaged. And that's how my brain works. It's fast. It's quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time listening to a talking head for 90 minutes. I tune out. So I figure, boy, if someone can get what they want out of themselves in 15, 20 minutes, boom, they're in, they're out. And then they're like an appetizer. People can pull them aside and pick their brain for more, or not pick their brain, but they can ask them specific questions for more. And the other part, which is interesting, is we created an environment where we bring in the actual person. So instead of just coaches, teachers, mentors, which are all valuable, we said, what if we just went right to the source? So if you're going to start a clothing line, here's a guy who started a $1 billion brand called UGG Boots. If you got an invention, here's Ron Klein, who created the credit card validating system. If you got an idea for, a board game, here's the guy who invented Pictionary. Where could you be if you actually just hung out with the person who did it? And that's what Secret Knock's about. It's not about the wishers or the dreamers or the believers or regurgitating all the information. It's the actual human being who accomplished it. And by going right to the front of the line, literally it could cut 10, 15, 20 years learning curve from your experience.
I love it. And I'm so grateful. And I also, I want to be respectful of your time, Greg. And I'm so grateful that you, A, came on here, and B, blessed us with all this type of information. For me, I'll sit here for another 20 minutes, a half hour. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, but what is it in closing that you could maybe just give people information? If you have like an opt-in where people can opt into something, or if you have just a little bit of information, in closing, what is it you would like to say? Maybe I forgot something to ask.
Yeah. And thanks, Ron. I appreciate you having me on and being a good buddy of mine for the last few years. What's interesting is that I think the biggest ahas I got, there's two of them that I'll share with everybody. One is to seek counsel and not opinion.
I love it.
Here's what that means. Opinion is based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience, like your family, friends who've never done what you want to venture upon. Counsel is based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. People have paved the way. And that's in 3 Feet from Gold right now. So if you went to a friend and say, I'm going to write a book, or a family member, they might talk you out of it if they've never written a best-selling book. But if I go to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he's going to say, Greg, sit down. Before you get started, here's what you need to know, and give you counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If we would spend our activities only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the day your life would change. Door number one. And then this is the biggest aha that I've had lately. And this came from a good buddy of mine, Mark Anthony Bates, when I did Wealth Made Easy. He taught me something called CPC, and this completely transformed the way I look at everything. CPC. It's about accountability and responsibility for every single thing that happens to us. Stop blaming other people. Example. If I go out on a first date, because I'm a single guy, and the woman shows up 20 minutes late, boom, that's a clue. If I go on the second, third, and fourth date, and she's 20 minutes late each time, that is a pattern. Now, it's my choice. I deal with it, adjust it, yell at her, whatever, but it's not her fault. I'm not going to change her. She's just late. It's the same thing. How many times have we seen someone who's got a bad reputation in business, then they cheat your friend, then you do business because it'll be different, and you're mad at them when things don't go good? It was a clue pattern. You made that choice. Have responsibility for it. And then ultimately, it's like seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your sister, and then you pet that snake and get bit and you're angry at the snake. It's not their fault. So the whole thing is clues, patterns, choices. And the most successful people on our planet, what we do is we go through that process so fast, we weed the people out that could potentially be toxic. And that's why we have such a happy, productive life.
I love it, man. I love it. Staying drama free and just cutting out the, I don't want to say the riffraff, but just the drama. Just try to eliminate it as much as you can. Again, Greg, I am so grateful for your time. Your event is in September, Secret Knock. If people wanted to learn more about that, is there a website or something that they can go to?
Yeah, it was a secret site, and people still found us. It's secretknock.co. We left the M off. And again, you'll go there, take a look. And the way it works is this. You go fill out an application and you tell us two things. One, what is it that you're looking for? And then two, what value do you bring to our tribe? And then someone calls you and makes sure that you don't wear a tinfoil hat and talk to dead aliens through your cat, and you're pretty cool. And if you go through the process, then we'll invite you to come participate. And like I said, the next one's going to be in September. It's in San Diego. We're not going to tell you exactly where. We're not going to tell you who's going to be there, but I will tell you this. It's worth every single penny. And thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yeah, and I also have to admit, I've been there several times, and it's without a doubt, it's worth every penny. Not just what you get from the people who speak from the stage, the education you get, right, the people in the room that you meet, that you sit at the table with. Everybody in that room is just phenomenal, or they wouldn't be there. And you're going to make deals in the room that will be 10 times what you pay to get in the room. But at the end of the day, you got to show up to blow up, right? As Carlos and other people say, right? So you've got to invest in yourself. You've got to get next to people. And if you're going to free meetup events down the street and there's some free pizza and bottled water, right? But there's 4 web designers, there's 3 or 4 different financial advisors and 3 real estate people. I mean, that's great. You can go to those events, but people who pay attention. So I highly recommend people go to your events and seek you out. Now, if someone wanted to seek you out for whatever, whether it's to seek counsel or whatever, is there a way that people can contact you directly?
Yes. And the easiest way today's world is go to Instagram. It's Greg S. Reid. Everyone that reaches out to me goes right to my phone. There's no buffer. There's no secretary. It goes right to me. And the only request that I have is when you DM me, I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about what you ate for dinner or the kids. Just be specific. Hey, listen, I'm working on this business thing. Do you got a connection? Hey, what book do you recommend? Hey, think or whatever. Because I promise I'll answer it. But if you tell me your whole life story, I probably won't. Specificity is the key. Greg S. Reid on Instagram is the easiest way to connect with me directly. And by the way, this is good timing. I got 1 minute left on this computer my son has, and I'm going to drop out. So I want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate being buddies with you, Ron. You're a good man, and I'll see you soon.
I love you, Greg. See you in September, brother. Have a great day.
Bye.